All right. Good afternoon, everyone. You guys are sleeping on me. How's everyone doing? Good? Decent weather today, not too bad, so we got you out. I figured if it was over 100, I'd have 4 people here, so I'm glad there are more of you. How many in the room is this your first resident forum? I know we had a few new faces. 1, 2, 3. Welcome in. This is a monthly meeting where I, along with directors, go over a number of updates. We share financials, talk about upcoming events and activities, and then obviously keep it open for questions. I can tell you it's going to be a little bit faster paced because there's not a lot of directors here today. What happened is I took vacation. I came back. They all took vacation. That's what I get for taking time off. So I do believe I have the help of Amanda from Dining, Joe from Community Life, and then Sierra, who is our HR director who'd been out on a leave for some period of time. So I'm hoping to see her pop in. Otherwise, it's the Alexis show. So bear with us today. We'll go ahead and get started. I think we're right on time. See what screen you guys can see first. We'll start it off with financials. Not only are we talking June financials, so we're always in a month talking about last month's because they close usually about day 15. So they just recently closed. We're reviewing June, but June also marks a quarter mark for us. So we'll talk year to date as we look at our operating margin. First and foremost, we'll talk about the money coming in. So our revenue, you can see highlighted up there, number 1, 2, 3, and 4 are specific to our census. And we usually start out with that since the revenue from our community primarily comes from monthly service fees. Residential living, we ended June with a census of 252 apartments occupied. So we had almost $50,000 over our planned revenue for that line item. We had 22,000 approximately in assisted living, positive variance because we ended the month at 57 occupied. Memory support, we were 100% occupied at 27, so we had a little bit of revenue overage there. And our health center ended at 48 in census, so we had $90,000 over budget. So it's all good things. When we have a full community, we have more revenue, and more revenue helps offset any expenditures that we don't plan throughout the year, which always happen. So you'll see at the bottom there, my number 5 shows the expected monthly budget revenue to be about $3.3 million, and we brought in $3.54 million. So about $220,000 more than we had budgeted for. And that always comes from more apartments being filled. Jumping into June expenses, I know every time there's more than 2 or 3 red, I get a hard stare when you're coming in. The one that we see most frequently is total employee costs. So we were over budget in the month of June, about $33,000. Those are salary, wages, and of course any fringe benefits that come with team members. I can tell you the way June works. It's a kind of a pivotal point. There are 2 months out of the year where Human Good allows team members to cash out their paid time off up to a percentage, so people can cash out rather than utilize the days. And June happens to be one of those. So the overage is specifically tied to the cash outs that were accepted. Supplies, continually running over. I can tell you year to date, which you have on your sheet. This up here is just for the month. When I started to pull numbers, we're about 203 over budget in supplies. About $150,000 of that overage for the year is raw food. So specifically tied to raw food costs, the cost of food going up, and obviously the variables around the food that we're purchasing in a new capacity with our Human Good budget, with the new menu, with the new chef. So there's a lot of raw food in that number. Going down to my number 2, was supplies, which is primarily where raw food is, but let me jump down because I have monthly notes as well. Get down there. We also had overage, so the number you're seeing up on the screen, the over budget by $38,000 was tied to purchase of a large quantity of bark, air handler replacements in Valencia, armchairs that were purchased for interior, And then we paid an interior design expense, which will eventually get reclassed. But as we embark on our 2027 planning, we are paying out of today's revenue some planning costs. So having them come in, provide estimates for projects so we can put a real number in our capital planning. So that will get reclassed, but for now it hit the supplies line. Number 3 up on the screen for the month, you can see over budget by about $48,000. So that's repair and maintenance. Primarily, this expense was related to a number of Tuscany and Milano apartment, I don't even want to call them renovations. They were issues. We had several water issues in Tuscany apartments with lots of repairs to kitchens, which tend to be some of the most expensive spaces to renovate. So countertops and cabinetry and flooring in several spaces. So you see an overage of about $50,000 for the month. Down below, for the month of June, expected us to spend about $2.58 million. We spent $2.68 million. So we were over almost $92,000 for the month. I'll pause there. Any questions specific to expenses that you're curious about? If I don't have the notes here in front of me, I can always dig in and provide those updates at What's Brewing if there's any specific interest or questions around expenses. All right, I'll keep it going. We end our financial review for the month with our operating margin, which we describe as our report card. I've highlighted up there my number 1, which is our month to date. Expected us to end the month $290,000. We ended at $366,000. So that's taking account all of the revenue they expected to bring in, less any expense that we had and any variance in expense, still with a positive month at $75,000. That's a good thing. Going over year to date, just below on my second up here, you'll see year to date expected us to have 1.6 million. We are just under that 2.4 million mark, highly driven by the census, both in residential living and our health center. So we are currently surpassing expected operating margin by about $780,000 for the year. That is good. I heard some, that's good. That's very good. That's very good. Any questions about that? I'll always stay after. Like I said, sometimes there are things on the income statement that you all are looking at in full transparency. I dig into something called an executive summary where I can dig in and actually look at invoices and tie them to the different categories. The income statement has always been something that has been reviewed at this community. Jessica started it, Sean carried it on, and I continue to do it. But there are items there that I don't report on because they are managed directly by CSC, our Community Support Center. So things like entry fee amortization, I have nothing to do with that at a local level. So digging into that, I've had people ask questions about it. We've been able to put them in touch with Andy McDonald where he can talk those things through. So if you have interest in information that you're receiving and I'm not addressing it here, just stop me afterwards. It'll either be something I can talk to or put you in touch with a person that can. All right, I'm going to carry on to my next slide, which is, this is all you're going to get on it because I primarily just want to speak to it. So how many of you in the room have heard the word or phrase health span? We've been talking about it a little bit. A couple people. Are you being shy or is that all that has heard about it? Health span. Hopefully more of you have heard about health span. Health span was something that we talked and launched a lot of, I would say over the last year when John Cochran, our CEO, started talking about the X Prize. Does anybody remember that conversation where Human Good really wanted to partake in a competition where we would be able to show with real time and data that people in our communities, senior specific, are able to live not just longer lives, but healthier lives within our communities. It kind of embarked on this journey where we were pulling together resources. We have obviously a collective group within our organization of seniors living with us who are already living active and healthy lifestyles, whereby partnership with outside experts like the Buck Institute, we could find measurable data to showcase that Human Good communities not just have residents living a long time, but they are living their healthier, longer lives within the communities. We were not selected in that process. I know it got down to kind of, I believe, 50 candidates. Human Good was not selected ultimately for the X Prize, but that did not stop John Cochran, our CEO, on the idea that we should really be talking about the importance of healthy living. It is not specific to senior living. It is a global interest where people are looking at the food that they're taking in, the physical activity, the social connections, the overall spiritual wellness. This is not a new concept to us by any means. But to differentiate ourselves in senior living, not only do we want to showcase that we have beautiful communities with happy people that showcase through those NPS scores when we take our surveys, but real data that shows people live healthier in community. And this was something that I can tell you starting 17 years ago in senior living, probably about 10 or 12 years ago, there was this big narrative around senior living communities and the ideas that seniors ultimately would not, one, be able to afford to move in, and two, have interest in community and would want services outside of community. So in the greater home environment or Fresno, for instance, and not within the brick and mortar locations. Well, there's also the idea that there's this, as they call it, the silver tsunami. Has anyone heard that? Where there's this large number of boomers coming into retirement, and there's a big mixed conversation around whether those folks are interested in community and or can afford it. And all of this goes in to say that this is not something that we've stopped thinking about. We are in senior living to stay relevant. You can't just have pretty buildings and currently full communities. You have to be thinking about what does the next generation of seniors and the next generation of residents and team members expect in locations like ours? And HealthSpan has really sparked the interest of Human Good in the sense that we need to show residents of our communities, our team members and within our organization, that taking your health serious and making select choices that are all optional to you can only generate not just long life, but healthy life. So this embarks on the health assessments that you've heard in the last year us talking about, where John Cochran has an entire team, both in our CSC teams through innovation, but also in our local teams like Joe and Lance and Quincy and Doug, where they're wanting to provide tools and resources to the communities for residents to be able to select what is of interest to them in terms of healthy living. So the first rollout are these assessments where you get to voluntarily take an assessment, receive information that is specific to you, and decide entirely on your own whether you're going to do anything with it or not. That is our first step in the direction of providing you the information. And the reason I bring this up is because I have heard, as I'm sure many of you have as well, the concern around that information being available to Human Good. With HIPAA practices and concern for personal information and what we do with that information, there's been some hesitancy and or some questions just around what we do with it and who's looking at it and how will we use it. This is not a study that we are partnering with some outside institution to give your data away. And this is not in an effort to collect your data so we can use it against you. The idea that Human Good wants to be in the health and wellness space, specializing in senior living, is the reason we're doing this. We do believe that people that are looking at retirement communities and or those that are living within them are interested in choice and health. And by giving these assessments to you and allowing you to do what you want with the information empowers you. That's truly what it comes. That is the origin. So I know that didn't necessarily come through when they started to sprinkle these assessments and we were talking about them. And then of course the waivers, because you were participating in a group health fair as we were trying to make it easier and more collective. There are 3 assessments. The physical assessment, which we held the big health and wellness fair in this room. Many of you participated in that. I think over 100 residents decided to take those assessments and get the results. We also rolled out a social assessment. We actually, at TSJG, did it kind of in a subtle way where it's available and Human Good has been talking about it, but we did not do a major push for it. It was during our resident survey period, and it could cloud the water a little bit if we're talking about assessments and also talking about surveys. So we chose to kind of go silent on that one, although making it available to all of you. And we'll be revisiting that as a community to make it accessible and more known. And then coming soon is the Brain HQ, which I think is probably of most interest, and that is the assessment around cognition and memory, where I think most of us, at least me in this industry, but I know many residents who I've talked to, have a real concern and or interest in how to detect, ward away, avoid, whatever it is, the dementia that we all hear and know about, right? So making our residents aware and providing information that you can then use for yourself is really the reason behind these assessments. There is nobody taking your results, putting them in somewhere, and then using them against you. We're not tracking your results in our health profile. So we use a system called PCC, where we have personal resident information, so we can help with care and aging and all of that great stuff. Your results never go into PCC. They're unrelated completely. Those results go to you. We do have access. There are key team members on our campus that will have access to those results, which is what you're agreeing to when you participate. And that's because we are part of the programming, right? So if, for instance, Doug was a part of our spiritual care program here, and he's creating programs and cohorts and discussion groups around socialization, it would be important for him to have access to those residents who have interest in that so that he could pair you up with those services. But they are not broadly shared and unnecessarily shared. They're meant for those that can assist with you in programming and nobody else. So I know there's still probably a lot of questions out there, but I did want to talk a little bit about that. John had a wonderful message at the executive director retreat that left me feeling extremely inspired, very proud to be, as I say, on the cutting edge of what's coming next in our industry. Not just keeping our communities pretty and keeping the buildings fresh, but making sure that we're attracting the next resident, the next generation of team members, but also looking at what our current residents are expecting of us and delivering in a way that you're looking for. So much more to come on HealthSpan. I want you to be familiar with the word, and we will start to communicate HealthSpan through various activities. And I know Doug has some slides later on that we'll be talking about some upcoming activities that he's working on. So I'll pause there. That's a lot. Questions for me on any of the HealthSpan information? All righty. You're letting me off the hook today, and I appreciate you for that. Sierra, if we can welcome you back to TSJG. Can we get a round of applause? Because she came back to work. She decided to come back, and we're very happy about that. Sierra's our Human Resource Director. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be back and see everyone after having my little one. I'll go over a few things here really quick. So we have a few new team members. We'd like to welcome those that have started in dining. We have Santino, Rico, and Denise, who are all cooks that have started in dining. We have 2 CNAs that have started in our assisted living, Carla and Samantha. For buildings and grounds, that is building and grounds. That is definitely dining, not buildings and grounds. We have Danny Estrada we welcomed him into our wait staff. And then for health center, we have Luz, who is a CNA with us. We've also had a few that have departed from TSJG. We have 2 in dining, Jesus and Bren, health center, Lupita. In assisted living, we have Nancy and Jasmine. Buildings and grounds, we have Emmanuel, Daniela in memory support, and Dolce in memory support. So that's all for our those that we have welcomed and those who have departed. Do we have any questions? No? All right, I'll pass it on. It looks like it's Ruthie.
All right. So Ruthie and Valerie are both out, as is Brian. So you'll get me a couple of more times. All right. Talking about sales activity, residential living, you'll see occupied against budget. So when we went into 2026, we expected to have 241 occupied out of our 260. You can see here we ended June with 252 of those. Which is why it looks like it's 105%, because it's over the budget, not over the total. Assisted living, we expected to have 57 occupied, and we actually had 57. That's, I believe, a typo on there. Memory support, we expected to have 25, and we had 27 occupied. Looking at total down below, see, that's against our total number. So we do have apartments that are not currently lived in, but every apartment is spoken for, I believe. July move-ins, it doesn't look like we had anybody decide to move in the hottest part of the year, which is shocking to me. But we have some depositors listed up there. Richard and Evelyn Richardson for a Tuscany apartment. Connie Trace for a Milano apartment. Nancy Singer for a Tuscany. Bill and Kathy Coit for a Milano. And Ray and Jackie Dumanian for a Tuscany apartment. So still working those folks as they go through the process of selling a home and downsizing. Our wait list, which are people who have decided to give a $10,000 commitment check to a specific floor plan or floor plans, there are 50 people now waiting specifically for a desired floor plan. That's crazy to think about, actually. To pause and take that in. The girls will continue to host marketing events. There are a few times throughout the year that we do purchase list where we go out and grab a whole new group of folks that have never been here. And then throughout the year, some smaller events where we reach out to our contact list. So you have large events and then you have some of those smaller ones. Our myth busting is always a purchase list event because it is one that really I think the general public has interested in. They want to know the nitty gritty. They want to know, how about, the idea that I have to give you my home or I have to turn over my assets or long-term care, is not accepted at your facility. So we really try to dispel those misconceptions or narratives that are out there in the general area. Our next will be on the 22nd. And Ruthie was so kind to go on vacation so that I could do her marketing event. She's really setting me up for success at this point. And then we'll finish the month on July 28th with one more of those myth busting. But those tend to be larger events, so we do block off a section of parking for those larger groups. The girls want you to remember all referrals. So if you have friends, family, or an acquaintance that is asking about the terraces, we do not expect you to do the work for us. If you simply just share either our contact with them or their contact with with Emily in the sales office, she'll make sure Robin or Ruthie get in touch and provide some information, whether it be by mail or by phone or by a tour. Any questions for sales? All right. Valerie Epps, our Director of Assisted Living, also on vacation. I'm very happy for them. I'm giving them a hard time, but they never take time off, so this is just fun and games. Assisted Living, we've now embarked on this partnership with Canines for Christ. We've now had them a few times. It's a Christian-based animal-assisted therapy ministry, and they go into, I believe, our assisted living, memory support, and skilled. How many of you have seen the dogs in assisted living? They're beautiful. They are beautiful. You don't have to live in assisted living to partake in this. If you have any interest, the most docile, you're not going to see them and pet them and not smile. They're beautiful dogs and very well behaved. So, and there's just great conversation with the ladies that bring them out. So if you ever see it posted in terms of our Tribune or Garden News that they're coming, maybe take a walk that afternoon and walk through. They would love to introduce you to them. Our team also hosted a bake sale in our club room not that long ago to raise funds and awareness for Alzheimer's disease. Paula and Quincy typically partner on that project. Tons of donations in terms of baked goods. They raised $1,100 to be able to donate to Alzheimer's awareness. So thank you if you participated. I know I was very impressed with the donuts, so I bought a couple of those. Just because they were pretty, of course. I didn't eat them. Okay, I ate one of them, but I gave the other one away. It also looks like they were having some fun in terms of bingo and different activities in our memory support. And I do believe they had not just a couple inside games, but they also invited what we call serving smiles. So they showed up with nice, cool treats for our Grove residents. I think that's all we have for assisted living and memory support. So I'll invite Amanda up next for dining.
Hello, everybody. All right. So first, I just wanted to showcase some of the things we've been doing in the Monte Carlo. I've been trying to be really good about putting pictures on Cubago as well. But this month Sandy's made an ice cream cake. So she made the cake, and ice cream came from Fresno State. It's a caramel toffee ice cream. So that's one of the desserts in the Monte Carlo. And then that third picture over is a key lime cheesecake. And Michelle just made it beautiful. So Sandy baked it and prepared it, and then Michelle plated it. The poached pear salad, that's a favorite that's been on the menu before, and it's back. And then those watermelon radishes on that last salad have really been a hit. So that's just a garden salad with watermelon radishes there. So be sure to make your reservations for this weekend. Next weekend, we have kind of a half weekend. So July 31st is on a Friday and August 1st is on a Saturday. We're going to continue the July menu through that weekend. Because we were closed this last weekend due to the Taste of Italy, we just wanted to give everybody a chance. And then you'll have 4 weekends in August to enjoy the August menu. So just a little bit easier on the kitchen to not prepare a whole Monte Carlo menu for Friday and then a whole new menu for Saturday. So you'll have the opportunity both this weekend and next to enjoy the July menu. All right, our corn chuckers came out again for the 4th of July, and this has been really fun. I actually reached out for Memorial Day about a week prior, a few days prior, and I just thought, well, if anybody shows up, they'll show up, and we had so many people show up. So, and they said, heck, we'll peel potatoes, we'll do whatever. It's been really, really fun. So I decided to do it again for 4th of July, and we had even more corn this time, and they were just as quick. I think it was done in 20 minutes. So thank you so much to all of you. That really saves us, because normally one person in the kitchen would be shucking all of that corn. So this helps a lot, and I hope it's really fun for you as well. We did celebrate a couple of centenarian birthdays this last month. Elaine Buchanan celebrated her 100th birthday, and Dottie Glim her 101st. I feel like we just celebrated her 100th here in the Holiday. So time flies, and both those ladies got to order whatever they would like, from the beginning, a salad, all the way to dessert. So, and then Daniel, that was his first time delivering. I wasn't here that day, so he got to deliver to Dottie. 4th of July was so much fun for our team, actually. I think a lot of team members are like, oh, I have to work on a holiday, but it ends up being so fun. So everybody kind of dressed up, and it was just, it's always a fun gathering. I made a little charcuterie board with a bunch of treats for them after service. So they all came back and we got to take pictures. And then of course, Daniel dressed up. So, that was really fun. My boys came and scooped ice cream again. It wasn't as hard this time, but they were here. So that was fun for them too. And then just kind of ending with a group photo. And really, honestly, we did have a lot of fun. So I hope you all enjoyed. We had a full house. We opened up Speranza and in Holiday. I feel like it went a little smoother than Memorial Day. There was just a lot more room for people to sit. And we kind of switched up the menu with the barbecue brisket sandwiches. So that was really popular. But we had a lot of fun. Any questions for me? All right. Are you Brian? Oh, she's Brian too.
All right. Honestly, Dining is doing a great job. Very, very happy with Dining. Good job, Amanda. Amanda and team. All right. Very quickly, I just want to make a brief general announcement. Every once in a while, we have team members that actually have lives outside of this community. And currently, Brian is handling some private matters that have gotten prolonged, so he's out. I don't have a return date, so I do ask if any of you are looking to connect with him specifically. Brian is really lucky because he has an extraordinary team. Abby is accessible. I think phones, I know, are challenging to get her, but if you see her in the buildings and grounds. She's the first person you see when you walk in. But Daniel and Sherry are very capable and competent supervisors in that department that can pretty much take on any request. And if for any reason they need support or are not empowered to make a decision, I will be looking after them and in partnership with them. So in the meantime, please see Abby with any buildings and grounds requests, and then Daniel and Sherry will carry those through. And if you're not seeing that or experiencing that, feel free to come to me. But right now, we're just going to allow Brian to take care of his things, and we'll see him when he gets back. Work orders. Month of June, maintenance completed 752 work orders throughout the campus. It looks like 82% of those were done within the first day. It's always good news. Major projects that we were wrapping up or working on and wrapping up, Milano Courtyards. So Milano Courtyards did receive updates in all 3 courtyards, some more than others, including furniture replacement, pergola replacement, and recently just I've seen lighting and ceiling fans installed on those pergolas. So the pictures here showcase just some of the seating, the new fans. They have decided to put these boxes, which I hope will be a positive outcome, where the remotes for these fans are kept in a secure box, so you don't have to take it out and take it home with you. You just have to open the box, push the button, and close it up. The worst thing you'd do is forget to turn off the fan, and we can always walk by and turn it off. But if those remotes stay in those boxes, we should be able to keep them intact and keep them close by so people can have the moving air, which I know is appreciated, especially if you're enjoying the pergola spaces. For those of you that live in Milano, you probably are well aware of this, but some may not, especially if you're not a walker and getting about. The first design of our Milano South Courtyard was starkly different than what we had expected. A few things were not included and other things were that we didn't ask for. The team that we were working with completely agreeable to modifying or adjusting. So for instance, there's a big center raised planter with big olive trees in the South Courtyard. When it was all finished, they had crushed gold stone or white gold stone that was just in stark contrast to anything else that we have on this campus, and really, really stood out. So by going back and adding the bark to that space, it created kind of warmth and some cohesiveness to what we were used to. They did leave stone and river rock in certain areas for drainage that kind of tie it in all together, but that was one of the major things. And then details, little details. There were large pipes, for lack of a better description, sticking out everywhere because those beds are so deep. So when they started to remove materials and overgrown plants, these random pipes were just sticking out all over the place. So getting landscape guys to go back in and trim those down and put the proper caps, a lot of the little detail work was being fine-tuned, but they were very agreeable to coming back and working with us. So, and I know our team is taking on a few tasks as well. Milano Courtyard, of course, has new planting. I know we did not have plans originally for the east side of the Milano driveway. It was pretty well designed. There were a few sparse areas that our team went in and removed some old overgrown or dead plants and put some new plants there just to tie it in together. The idea behind Milano North was try to get a little bit of color in there. With those redwood trees, the acidity really doesn't let a lot of things grow in those spaces. So we're keeping our fingers crossed and keeping close eye on those plant materials. But hopefully, once things become a little bit more mature, you'll see some color in the North Courtyard. And then our East Courtyard probably had the least amount of work done in terms of plant removal and replacement. We are still waiting on a Japanese maple to be planted where a tree had to be pulled, the one and only tree that had to be pulled, which was leaning. But a lot of drainage and some irrigation adjustments and some new plants. We did not go into that courtyard and decide on entirely new plants. Most of what was planted had already been there, but had kind of seen its best life already. And whether it was maintenance or poor irrigation, we pulled those older versions and put some new but same plants back out there. That's all Brian has for buildings and grounds, so I'll pause there. If there's anything related to buildings and grounds, questions, comments, concerns, I can take those. Yes?
Will the coverings be replaced over the?
Yes, and the ongoing question is the gazebo or pergola covers. There was a screen material on each of them. Long and short, I think some of you heard this. When we had them out for the Tuscany Art Studio, believe it or not, when you invite inspectors in, they don't just look at what they're supposed to look at, they start looking everywhere else. And one of the major call-outs for that location when we were doing the art studio was the screening that kind of creates some shade or diffuses the sun exposure of the patio. They are now looking at that through code as an enclosed structure, which if it's enclosed, you then have to sprinkler. So I know. So what we did is we pulled them everywhere. So this one out here got pulled. Obviously, all of the Milano got pulled. We were about to do the pergolas, so we didn't think anything of it. And then we pulled the Tuscany Art Studio. And I have to go back to see if the final signatures were received. But when we had the art studio opening, we went out there and just reattached one for the sake of the opening because we were going to be out and it was 105 or something that day. But I do believe we still have to pull it off to be approved. And then they go away until we invite them back. So we will be adding those back. The idea is that the next inspector will not know that they're supposed to be enclosed structures, or we'll come up with something as a community so that we can get the shade structures back. So we are fully expecting to replace those in all the locations that they were taken off. We probably will stay away from this one being so close to this main building, which is coded as assisted living because of upstairs. But Art Studio and Milano will get their pergola covers back. And I know that was just recorded, so don't show this to the inspector, please.
Right next to that picture, there's a fountain, and the clock doesn't know the difference between AM and PM, so quite frequently it's turned off in the middle of the day, and then at 4:30 in the morning, if you want to see it, it works beautiful. So somebody either needs to adjust the clock or replace the clock.
Thank you. I was not aware of that, but I think we should probably fix the clock.
We walk a lot on campus, and over in Tuscany, furthest away near the gate, there's a fountain, and it needs attention. It's ugly, and I've noticed that it's not as pretty as the others as far as how it looks. It's mold. I don't know, what is it doing, Fred? It just looks ugly. That's one thing. I mean, we walk around, we may as well look, right? And if I really recommend walking around this place because it just cheers you up because so much is so pretty. And I appreciate what you've done. And I think we all know stuff has to grow. So we'll be patient. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
In walking around, we noticed that a lot of the security lighting goes on really early. And again, we're just looking, because I'm joined the environmental committee, and we're looking at the PG&E bill. And, I'm talking like 4:00 in the afternoon. So anyway, I was just going to bring that to the attention because we've seen it at different places on campus.
Thank you. She has got one back there. I'll give it right back to you.
Well, I have a question about Tuscany and the water supply to the individual gardens. It seems to have a lot of problems right now. Are you aware of that?
I am not. But it doesn't shock me because of the large trees that are out there. So irrigation and roots tend to have conflict.
Yes. So do we have someone else that can check that?
I won't, but I will find someone that can. Yes. Yes. I'm not aware of it, but I can definitely follow up with Buildings and Grounds just to see what they are aware of. And if there isn't anything on the radar, I can make sure we connect with you and we can start problem solving.
Good.
But I don't think it's a one and done. I have to tell you, as long as I've been here, Tuscany has kind of an ebb and flow of irrigation issues, and a lot of it has to do with roots.
With what?
The roots.
Oh, the roots. Oh,
Tree roots.
thank you.
You're welcome.
I live in Tuscany, and around my building, the landscaping is not being watered consistently. And the gardener told me today that they're having trouble with getting the system to run when they want it to run. But that's what my question was. On the art studio, there were 2 walkways, and one got dug out and removed, and now there's only one walkway to the very front of it. Any reason why?
I think, now I could be wrong, so bear with me. I think that if we had the two walkways, this doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So I'm regretting that I said anything. I think if we had two walkways, we had to add another handicap parking. I think it had something to do with that. So, but
I can believe it, but I'll walk a couple steps further to the.
But I can actually pull it up and find out why we avoided it. Got it. Yeah. No, it would not shock me that it had something to do with parking. Believe it or not, the parking space that is between Tuscany and Sequoia, many of you live out there. Millie, you would have seen this. They had to ramp that specific parking space is tied to the Tuscany Art Studio. So accessibility had to be addressed in that location for them to create approvals for the art studio. So yeah, there are some things we have no control over. Joe, back here, Dan has one.
I live in Sequoia on the southern end. The stairwell on the east and the stairwell on the west, the handrails are exceptionally hot.
Oh.
Is there something some kind of a wrap or something they can put on? I'd like to be able to go up and down the stairs as long as I can, but those handrails are really, really hot.
I have not heard that before, but I'm wondering, and again, I don't want to jump to conclusions. I don't want to wrap them necessarily, but I'm wondering if there is like a resurface, almost like a temperature control painting coating that we can look at. So we'll make note of it and research. We can bring that up also with the Buildings and Grounds Committee, just because that's one of those things that we can research. Doug, Buildings and Grounds Committee, staircase, Sequoia, south side, east and west staircase. I know, but come on.
The new hash marks on the stairs in Piazza are wonderful. You can see them. There's no reason to miss the steps anymore. It's wonderful.
Thanks, Paul.
If you're talking about hot rails, if you walk down from the second floor, out to the main front of the building, those during the first part of the day, those are real hot too.
All those spicy rails. All right. Thank you for that. This is all good feedback, being able to either look into options and or address issues like irrigation are important. So hot temperatures, just to keep in mind, obviously, we want you out walking. We want you using the stairs as long as possible. Just be mindful of the distance and know your nearest watering holes. There are water stations throughout campus. You do not need to worry about coming all the way back to Valencia. There are water stations in Tivoli, Tulipano, Antonella, our healthcare centers. So even if you're out and about, take in the water when you're out walking. Very important. All right, let's see what's next. Douglas. Formal.
Hey everybody, how are we today? All right, I have a lot of stuff today, so let me roll through it. We have a film that we usually show on Tuesdays at 4 o'clock. This time we're going through St. Augustine and the Confessions. It's been really interesting. People have enjoyed it. This coming Saturday, we have a movie, and I will not even attempt to say the French. It's called The Two of Us. I've heard it's a very, very good movie. 1:30 Saturday. I forgot the time. I don't know why I did that. But it is 1:30 here Saturday in Tolliday. We would love to have you there. Spiritual Care is going to be doing a retreat. And it's going to be on basically developing Christian solitude and community, kind of creating that whole life. I am very excited about it. Just got out of a meeting. As we're putting it together, we're bringing some people in, doing a whole bunch of stuff. It'll be 2 days. It's here. I actually have a typo. I didn't notice until right now I'm looking at it. It's actually 5 to 8 at the longest. Actually, now that we've done schedule, probably 7:30. Dinner will be provided here. So when I say it starts at 5, there's going to be dinner. You don't need to eat before and come. I would really encourage you to come. Try it. It is, I guess, in a sense, not a true retreat. We're not retreating anywhere. You still get to stay in your own place. We will not be setting up sleeping bags in here for that retreat feel. I said this earlier. I've done enough youth ministry. I'm not doing any more lock-ins, even with you. But it will be a great opportunity to get to know some people. We really hope that a lot of you will think about coming. All right, there'll be a lot more on that. But this is one, as you just talked about, Alexis actually kind of warmed us up to it, is the social health. And I want to say a quick word about this too, because I think it's tremendously important. What Alexis is trying to let us, and I've heard the same thing, like, well, why do you guys want that information? I don't really. I mean, I want you to be healthy. I want you to be able to have a sense of how you are doing. Now, if you choose to share that, rock on. But it's for you. Fitness, physical fitness. Now we're doing our social health, and then the brain is how we're doing mentally. Why? Because you're a whole person. And one of the things that I think we're seeing in a trend, and I know this is stuff John has talked about, we have, of course, for our entire existence, really, really focused on people's physical health. And that is still one of the most important things that we can do, not just provide a beautiful place, but we want you to be healthy. But in living a long life, everything in research shows it's not just physical. How we are thinking, how we are doing socially is really important. And again, a social assessment is for you. So we're not expecting everybody to be coming out of their place and doing every activity. You need to find who you are and do what works for you, but we want you to be able to aware, are there areas that all of a sudden you go, oh, I maybe should do better? How many of you were absolutely shocked, or maybe not even shocked, surprised? We'll go surprised at if you did the physical fitness assessment, that you learned something about yourself that you didn't realize. I got a lot of nods. I found out that I'm not flexible. Actually, that was no surprise. None whatsoever. But we are going to do 2 big introductions. The first one is Tuesday, July 28th at 2 o'clock here in, or 2:30, I'm sorry, 2:30 here in the club room. And I am not even remotely reticent about bribing you. So there will be beer and sliders on Tuesday. I have no scruples. The next one will be the next day on Wednesday the 29th. And we are also having a Mexican platter, and there will be beer, Mexican beer, of course, and margaritas. Now, come on, right away, that's going to improve your social attitude, right? So come, enjoy, just find out. I think it's interesting. It's very fast. It's quick. We'll help you do it. There is a flyer about it in your box right now, so you can scurry over and get it and learn more. But again, I cannot encourage you enough to know we all have to pay attention to our whole selves. And our whole selves are not just physical, and we desperately care. I can honestly say that. We want you to be healthy. And that is so much more than just simple physical. And it is because, what do we say here all the time? We want you to live your best life. And I promise you, your best life is healthy. at every level. And so I just, don't be afraid. We're not using it for anything. Yeah, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to look them all up. And if you're not doing an activity, I'm going to come to your apartment and drag you out by your ankles and force you to do something you don't want to do. Okay, that's not going to happen. So I really encourage you to do it. I think you'll find it helpful. And then this last thing has kind of been an issue for me that I keep working on. And since we have a lot of new people, I really want to make it clear. I know that traditionally in the past, this role was the chaplain. That's what we called him, right? And that's all they really did was that kind of stuff. And that's fine. But this is a different role. I'm a different person. Whether you know, yes, I'm an ordained pastor. That is true. But I'm also a licensed clinical social worker and have about 15, 20 years of private practice. I want the spiritual care to be open to every single human being. Regardless of how you see your spirituality, regardless of where your faith is or is not, it doesn't matter. Because spiritual care is really, again, that's why I ended up doing social assessment, because that's part of it. Spiritual care, and I wrote this down, is the support provided to address a person's spiritual and emotional needs, helping them find meaning, purpose, hope, and connection, especially during times of illness, crisis, or transition. And we all have those. And it is person-centered, often delivered one-on-one. People are already discovering this, so there's a revolving door at my office. Anybody can come in. You're stressing out. You just need to unwrap some things. You need a sounding board. You want a little bit of advice. Come on in. I want to meet with you personally. If I could meet with every person personally, that would be awesome. But if you haven't noticed, there's almost 400 of you. So we do the best we can, but we want you to work through your issues. And this is where it's important. Unlike religious care, spiritual care is inclusive and supports people regardless of faith or lack thereof. There is no judgment. Nobody's trying to change you. I promise you, I won't give you a sermon unless you come Sunday morning at 10:30. Then you're going to have to listen. But I want you to know that wherever you are in your life, we want to be part of that. And we want to help you, again, live your best life. And that is so tied to why we're doing this social assessment. Because truly, truly, if we're going to live our best life, it is every inch of what we do. All right? I really appreciate it. If you're interested, if you have any questions, feel free to call me, send me an email, smoke signals, or just come by my office, because that's what everybody else does. And we would love to have you there. All right, is there any questions, especially about the social assessment or anything else? How long? They told me it would take about 15 minutes. I have not taken it. I was supposed to in all my free time. And my assessment was, you're too busy. I will take it before, I promise. Cross my heart. Any other questions? Concerns? Confessions? We'll be here all day. All right, that's all I got. Thank you very much. And Joe.
Thank you. Thank you for the applause. Yeah, I hope I get some clapping when I'm done. Hi, everybody. There was a lot of information today, so we're just going to get to the fun stuff. We're just going straight on in, reminding you that we have Dining Dudes this Wednesday. The dudes will be going off campus, and they are going to be going to Famous Dave, so that should be a lot of fun. Divas are going to be next week, so I will see our divas there. We're going to have Maui Hawaiian barbecue, so I'm looking forward to that too. So it's that time of year when all the community event subscriptions are up for renewal. So this is just a reminder that to look at the window for certain organizations. We have the San Joaquin Valley Town Hall, the Daytime Series, Fresno Philharmonic, the Masters Works series, which has 4 concerts, and the Fresno Community Concert Band, the 3 p.m. show. So we're just reminding you that if you want to get your subscriptions, go ahead and get your subscriptions, and then we will provide transportation to those events. But we don't actually provide the tickets. So just a reminder to go ahead on your own and get those taken care of. Stretch and mobility flow. So this was formerly known as Limber Up Fitness, which we had a lot of positive feedback. So now we're going to be adding stretch and mobility flow. So you enjoyed the Limber Up, now experience the next step in your fitness journey. Stretch and Flow Fitness builds upon Limber Up by adding functional strength training to improve strength, mobility, balance, flexibility, and overall movement. So these classes use seated and standing exercises. They have light weights, resistance bands, and chair support. So these are going to be, in August, they're going to be every Tuesday except for August 11th at 10 a.m. here in the Talladay Theater. So Fresno Economic Opportunity Commission reached out to us, and they are going to be providing access to technology classes. So we're really excited. Build your confidence and independence through free, beginner-friendly technology classes. They're designed specifically for seniors. The program provides hands-on instruction and basic computer skills, smartphone and tablet use, internet safety, email communication, and accessing online services. So a whole gambit of everything that you can cover with technology. It's going to be a free, a 4-week class session with, 4 weeks of classes with 8 sessions. So it will be each Monday and Wednesday in August at 2 p.m. in the large conference room. And we will have a trained facilitator proficient with Apple and Android. So really covering all the bases there. So come on out if you're interested in getting more proficient with your devices, and I might see you there because I need a little bit of help myself. So our Co-Create Spotlight, if you've noticed lately, we've been talking a lot about how the Life Enrichment team is passionate about creating opportunities with our residents. And together, we'd like to collaborate and bring these activities to life. One example is our craft classes in the Art Studio. So the Art Studio has welcomed residents for a resident-led art class, we've had the decoupage pots and succulent plantings and the fabric beads and the jewelry. And I'm looking for our teachers. There's Patty right there, and Ellen is somewhere. And there we go. I don't see Andy, but I'm sure everybody's here or not here. But anyway, it's a lot of fun. The classes have been really great. We've gotten a lot of positive feedback. So we just want to be thankful for our residents who are helping us really use the space. And community highlights. So here's my favorite, the dogs. As Alexis said, they're going to be coming on campus, the therapy dogs. They're a lot of fun. They're so sweet. And you are more than welcome to come out wherever they are and visit and pet them and just enjoy them, because that's what it's all about. And with that, does anyone have any questions before we get to the best part of the meeting? No? All right. Bev, you're up. Where's my applause? Oh, okay, thank you. You're clapping for Bev, aren't you? Yeah.
Okay. An elderly woman is being examined by a young physician. After about 4 minutes in the examination room, and she bursts out of the door. Spotting an older doctor, she tells him what happened. Astounded, he marches down the hallway toward his young colleague. "What's the matter with you?" he demands. "That woman is 74. Why would you tell her she's pregnant?" "Well," the young doc asks, "does she still have the hiccups?"
Scare the hiccups right out of her, right? All right. Thank you all for your time and your attention and your questions and your comments. Joe and I, who are the only directors still working, will stick around, answer any questions, but just want to say thank you for coming out and enjoying a little bit of time with us. Have a nice evening.